Most people think that the housing market is slowing down. Some even think that it's crashing like 2008 and 2009, right? But when you look at the actual real estate data, especially here in Chandler, Arizona, the story is completely different than what they are thinking. In fact, buyers are actually coming to the market and the demand is stabilizing. Now, and it's also depend on where you look at. Prices are moving in a completely different direction. So here's the real question. What does this actually mean to you if you are thinking about buying this year in 2026? So let's break it down for you, all right? Now, number one, let's look at the national buyers demand. In this chart right here is the number of listing pending, listing under contract, meaning the house get listed on the market, there's a buyers, they make an offer, it's go under contract pending. This show the total number of pending in a certain month. This is where it gets very interesting. Now, obviously, you see here in March of 2026, there's a total of 432,000, a little bit more, of homes getting under contract in 1 month for the entire US. If this market was actually crashing, right, we would have seen fewer buyers stepping in. Not like this. It's going up. Now, obviously, sometimes you see this is going up long, this is going down. Yes, this is just a seasonal behavior of the market, right? It's go up until April, May is, and then it's start to go down in December and January because that is a holiday season and they don't decide to buy, right? It's similarly, right? April, May, then go down in December, January, go up and then go down. So it's a seasonal thing. It's not if for example, if we were in the crashing market, this number could have been going down already. So obviously the data shows the exact opposite of what people are thinking. Every year, buyer activities naturally increase around May and June, and that like I said, it's just a seasonal thing. Now in 2026, the difference is this. The buyer activities is actually, as you see, getting stronger than the past 3 years. For here, the green column, right? 432,000 homes getting under contract in 2026. Only 416,000 homes getting under contract in 2025. Only 421,000 homes are getting under contract in 2024, and only 396 homes getting under contract in 2023. So 2026 is actually the best year so far out of the last 4 years, right? And if you not only March, February, January also behaving the same way, is actually higher than February and January of the previous year. So that means more buyers are entering back the market in 2026. More homes going under contract and the demand is increasing again. So this tells us one thing very clear. Buyers are gaining actually more confidence in today's market, and they are coming back. And this is exactly the reason why I always tell my clients, do not just watch prices, because a lot of people see long prices are dropping every day. I see like 10,000, 20,000 drop, right? But here's the thing, price drop could mean many reasons. Number one, it could mean they overprice and they drop the price, which is normal. The seller asking for too much and they have to drop the price. That is actually the majority of the seller right now, because they're too confident in the market and in their house. Therefore, they have to drop the price, right? In the other situation, yes, maybe the market goes down a little bit in that area and therefore they have to drop. But don't just look at the price, but we watch the buyer behavior in a specific market, because the demand is what actually moves the market, right? And when the demand starts to increase, by the way, the window for negotiation starts to close. So you have to be very careful if you are thinking about buying a house in 2026. So nationally, the story is simple. Demand is getting stronger, right? As you see here, when you compare month year over year, you see the same thing, and previous 2 months is also the same thing. What about in Arizona? Let's take a look at Arizona listing under contract. So this chart right here is a little bit different than this chart, right? This chart in Arizona we show is each line right here is the number of listing under contract each year at a certain week, right? 2024 is purple, 2025 is red, and 2026 is green. So at the beginning of the year, 2026, it's getting very strong, and is in fact it has a gap between 2026 compared to the 2 years, the 2 previous years, right? But recently we come a little bit drop right here, drop down, and then matching with the level of the previous 2 years, 2024 and 2025. A lot of people when they look at this chart, they immediately conclude that maybe not conclude, but thinking right away is the housing market slowing down. So but here's what really happening. The pullback is directly tied to the interest rate increase again about a couple of weeks ago, right? So buyers didn't just disappear though, they just paused. In fact, in my opinion, the reason why 2026 here there's a gap right here between 2026 and the 2 years is mainly because the interest rate actually dropped during this period right here compared to the previous 2 years, and that's why there's more buyers into the market. And now when the interest rates goes up again, they drop to the normal level of 2024 and 2025. So they're very similar to the previous 2 years. And here's the important part. The last 2 years have been actually a very stable market. As you see here, 2024 pretty much matching. There's some gap here, but pretty much they behaving at the same level. At the beginning is around 5,000, and at the end is around 5,500. Very close to each other. So what does that mean to you, to the buyers? This is not the demand problem. This is a sensitivity to interest rate problem, right? As long as the interest rate go down, there's more buyers getting back to the market. But if it is keeping the same as 6.5, 6, right? We see the same level of demand throughout the year. We can expect that the buyer activity to stay consistent, not collapsing if the interest rate keep the same. And this is exactly what we're seeing here in Chandler as well. Buyers are still in the market, but they are watching the rate very closely, taking more time and being more selective. But one thing we know for sure, they are not disappearing. They are there. They're just watching and making the decision a little bit longer. So instead of reacting emotionally to short-term changes, we look at pattern, and the pattern show stability, not decline, right? Of course, you see up and then down, right? Normally, people at this time of the year gonna panic because it's going down. But here's the thing: it's going up, down, and then go up again and down again. So that's very typical seasoning in Arizona. Now, if you are trying to figure out how to actually navigate this market, especially with interest rate moving up and down randomly like this, I'm hosting a webinar completely free for first-time home buyer, where I gonna break down exactly how to buy in this market, how to avoid overpaying, and how to structure the deal the right way so that you can get offer accepted even though in the competitive market in Chandler, Arizona. You can scan the QR code either on the right corner, on the top right corner, or bottom left corner. Either way, give you to the same link, and then you can register for free completely. So nationally, we see demand is increasing. Arizona is show stability, right? What about here in Chandler, Arizona? Let's take a look right now. Very similar chart to the one before, right? Now, each line is also 1 year. Purple is 2024, red is 2025, and green is 2026. So what we are seeing here is very similar to Arizona, right? A strong activity early at the beginning of 2026 and create a gap right here as well between 2026 and 2025, right? Then it's go down to match with the same level. Now it start going back up. So it's very important for you to come back this show next couple of weeks to see whether it's gonna get back down again, or is it going to continue to go up? Very interesting behavior of Chandler right now. But here's the key difference. Compared to 2024, buyer activities in Chandler is already stronger. You see 2024 here, a big gap between 2024 and 2026, right? And based on this trend, 2026 is on track for sure, outperforming 2025. So while people are worried about the market slowing down, Chandler is actually show the signs of strengthened demand. You see, right? Even though it's go down a little bit because interest rate go up, it's still trying to get back up. It's get back up very strong at the beginning of the year as well. It's very steep increase, right? It's trying to get back up already. Right, I said, if this trend continues, it's definitely show that the Chandler is have a strong, very healthy demand in Chandler. And this is exactly why looking at national data alone can be misleading, because you see national is what you see on the headline on the news, right? Arizona, we see the trend is completely different than nationally. So the buyers are still here, regardless of the behavior difference, right? The demand, we can say for sure that the demand is still here, because you don't see a drop, you don't see a dip of any of the data that we see nationally, Arizona, Chandler, right? All of them show either increase or stable or strengthen during the first couple weeks, couple months of 2026. So, which raised the question, what about the price? So when a lot of people buying like this, right, when the demand are starting to get back up, what happened to the price? All right. Very good question, because what I'm going to show you, I believe it is one of the most important information of today update. When you look at the national level, here's the chart, right? Each of the column represent a month of the year. The blue is 2025, the green and the orange is 2026. And you see different area of the country right here. Some of the area is going up. For example, the Northeast, right? The Midwest, a little bit up, not as obvious as the Northeast, right? But some is flat, pretty much no change, south. Or maybe even go down in the West, California, Seattle, right? So even across the US, there's no single market. But here's where it gets more interesting. When we zoom into Maricopa, are you ready? You ready? Let me show you. This is a chart to show you the home prices across Maricopa County. You see each of the color represent different price range. The more blue it is, the cheaper in that area. You see here a lot of home around 300, 400 price range. If you go down to Chandler and Gilbert, more 400 to 600 right here. If you go to Paradise Valley, it's over 3 million. If you go to Northeast, it's like 1-3 million. It's all over the valley. There's no are not the same across the board. It's different depend on cities, depend on neighborhood, and even the price range. Okay, so behaving differently. So when people ask me, how's the market? Is it going up? Is it going down? So the real answer for is it depends. I know it's not the answer you're looking for, but it depends is a correct answer, because it's depend on what exactly you are looking for. And this is why working with someone who understands the local market deeply is so important, because a wrong assumption in the wrong area could cost you tens of thousands of dollars. If you are in the seller cities, for example, in Chandler, and you negotiate too much, you lose the deal. But if you are in a buyer's market like Maricopa County, Maricopa City or Buckeye, then if you don't negotiate, you lose the money, right? Because what's true in one market is not completely correct in another, right? So when you put all this together, we see that the buyer demand is coming back nationally. Arizona shows strong, stable, right? Chandler is showing signs of strength and even a little bit better than Arizona market, right? The conclusion that we see in the previous slides is the prices are moving a completely different depend on the location, which means one thing: strategy matters more than ever. not the timing on the market, but understand your specific situation. So seriously, if you're thinking about buying a home in Chandler, Arizona, and you want to understand what's happening in your price range, what's happening in your neighborhood that you are interested in, and how to make the right decision, I highly recommend you to sign up for my free webinar right here. I'll walk you through exactly how to navigate this market step by step, so you can make your confident decision without guessing. Thank you so much, everyone. Bye bye.